Okay, shooters and reloaders, we're back with another exciting reloading video. Okay, we're going to try to make this as exciting as we can. If people that have been watching this channel for a long time, the new viewers probably haven't gone back and watched a lot of the old videos, but I've used several different scales on this reloading channel. I've used the Lee beam scale. I've used an MTM electronic scale. Here we have the Redding 2400, and here we have the Rangemaster 2000. I've also had other scales. I had an RCBS scale a long time ago that I used to use. But when I got this electronic scale and this Redding scale, they never would match up the same. On previous videos, you'd hear me say that, this one's a 1/10 of a grain difference than this one, or vice versa, and I could never get equal measurements. So what I did was I just took the best of an average. I'd measure 5 times on both scales. I would average them out and get that average. So after, I don't know, a year of frustration or however long it's been, I went out and bought the Lyman shooting scale weight check set. I've seen this, advertised for a long time. I've seen them in the magazines, and I really thought they were a good thing to have. But with this scale here, it comes with the measuring check weights with the system. And so I would just use those. But I was getting kind of frustrated with things not being exact. In my world, things either are or they are not. I don't like no gray areas when it comes to certain things. And one of those things is when I'm throwing powder. When I'm throwing powder, I want to know it's exactly right. And on that note, if somebody says, if I ask a question to somebody and they say, well, I believe that to be right, well, then you're not 100% sure. And then if they say, yeah, it's right, but I can tell in their voice that there's a little question in what they're saying, I'll say, are you 100% sure, or are you 99% sure? And they say, well, I'm 95% sure that that's right. Well, 95% is not exact. So either it is or it is not. So either it's yes or it's no. When I'm throwing my powder, I want to know that it's yes. Is it 5 grains? Yes, it is exactly 5 grains. Or no, it's not. It's 4.9 or 4.8 or 5.1. Now, truth be known, when you're loading pistol rounds, it's not that big a deal to be off a 1/10 of a grain here or a 1/10 of a grain there. And it's really not that big deal on my rifle rounds because, I'm not going for precision accuracy on my rifle rounds. I'm going for 3-gun, plinking rounds or something like that. So it wasn't that big of a deal if I was off a 1/10 of a grain here or a 1/10 of a grain there. But anyway, I always wanted to know which scale was right. Was the Redding 2400 right, or was the Rangemaster 2000 right? A lot of times I kind of gave the impression that I didn't like the Rangemaster 2000 because I felt like it was changing its zero a lot, and it does. Sometimes you'll have that on there, on the pan on there, and you'll take the pan off and they'll give you 81.2, which is what it is without the pan. And then you put the pan on and it shows a 1/10 of a grain over, and then it settles out. And sometimes you take it off and it'll show a completely different number, like 81.1. And so I got kind of frustrated with that scale because I never could tell if it was exactly right. And then when I'd put it on, put the same powder throw on my Redding, I would get a different measurement. So I bought this Lyman's check weight system. It has several different weights in there. I don't know if we're going to be able to pick them up on camera. Probably not. We'll pick one up here. So it has several different weights inside the kit that we can put on the scales to test our weights. There's another one. Okay. Inside the kit, you have 2 20 grains, 1 10 grain, 1 5 grain, 2 2 grain, 1 1 grain, and 1.5 grain. And then you can add or mix them as you wish. Lyman's has 2 kits. I really was going to get the other kit. It was just hard for me to justify spending. You know, this here was $30 for these little weights. It was, you know, so I just never done it. But we got them now, so we're going to go ahead and do some testing. Okay, so this one here, we're not sure what it's going to weigh, but we're going to throw it in there. And that one says it's a 4 grain weight. Well, now it's up to 5, so it's a 5 grain weight. So based on that and based on our little chart that we have on the back here, it's throwing exactly right, which is awesome. So we're going to put another one on there. Okay, now we're up to 25, which is exactly right. So all the times that I was getting frustrated with this, well, see, now it went down to 24. So, I mean, it's still showing that it is a little off. Put these back in here, put it back on. Okay, it's back to 0. We're just going to use this one right here. What does this one show? Okay, that one shows exactly 5 grains. So we're going to take our reading scale. This is one reason I do not like the reading scale. I have very old adjustment eyes, and sometimes with my eyes, I can't see little numbers like that up close. I have several different pairs of glasses, and I have to use them for different things, so it's kind of frustrating sometimes. But we're going to put that in there, the same 5 grain. Okay? So it's right on the money. So, you know, it's odd to me that sometimes, you know, like I said, we were throwing a grain high or a grain low, or 2 grains high or 2 grain low. But what these check weights allow me to do is to know for sure 100%, yes, both of my scales are throwing exactly what they're supposed to be throwing. So that way I know for a fact that yes, they are right, or no, they are not right. So now I have more confidence when I'm throwing my powders that the powders that I'm throwing are not being thrown consistently. You know, if the powders are inconsistent, then I can test that. But it was just always odd to me that I was getting, you know, 1/10 of a grain difference even when I was, you know, measuring the same powders. But now, with these check weights, I know for a fact that I am going to be throwing exactly what I'm going to be throwing. I can double check it at any time during the powder checking process to make sure that what I'm throwing is right. So, reload or doob reloading tip, get you some weight scales. You know, these Lyman weight scales check system, 2 thumbs up. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks.